Okay, sorry about the positioning of the camera. I'm not happy with this. I'd like to go landscape, but for some reason it won't film that way, and I'm going to have to go figure out why. I'm not real savvy. Anyways, I finished Happy on my trip, and even a thumbs up. It's a good book. It's in the 80s, I'd say, 81. It's not great. It's pretty basic. It's written by Grant Morrison, so it is graphic. It's gory. It's got a lot of swearing and foul language. It's drawn by Derek Robertson, who I used to know. I knew him. We're kind of friends, friendly, whatever. I'll tell you that after I finish the book story. It's about an ex-cop who becomes a hitman. He meets this little blue horse with wings named Happy. And Happy is some little girl's secret friend. And as long as she's alive, he's alive. And the little horse is trying to get this guy to go and save the little girl. But he's a curmudgeon. He doesn't want to. He doesn't. So it's a 4-issue story. And it's beginning, middle, and end. I mean, it has the full story in it. It's good. It's worth getting if you haven't read it. Wouldn't go out of my way, but I would read it. It's worth reading. And apparently it was picked up as a TV show, like a series, which makes no sense to me because this is not a series. This is like, I don't know if they're doing this again where everything is being optioned, but now they're actually making series out of them. Back in 89, after the success of Batman, every comic book artist I knew was making a living off of having their book optioned. And that was it. They would get it optioned. I've actually got some art by Steve Lieber, which I want to show you and tell you a story about, where he made $20,000 or $30,000 a year just off of one book he drew because they wanted to make a movie out of it. And they finally did in about 2012, I think it was. But he was making $30,000 a year because they kept the option open, and everything else was kind of great. That was enough to live off of up in Portland at the time, back in the 80s, it would be early 90s then, but it was enough. And he said everything else is gravy. He works because he likes to work, and he needed the money still, extra money. But that $30,000 a year paycheck was enough to do it, But anyhow, in fact, I might as well just, because we're done. Well, let me tell you, Derek Robertson, he is an excellent artist. I'm really a big fan of him. He's done Transmetropolitan, which I think you should read. He's done... his first big work was Wolverine, but I knew him from 1981 or so when I was a senior in high school. A comic book store opened not far from me called Peninsula Comics. And I was, a kid going there buying my comics, and he was another kid that would go there to buy his comics. He's younger than me, but not by a ton. 5, I don't know. He's younger, but he's not a lot younger. But anyhow, he would go there and buy his comics too, and we'd chat. So we kind of knew of each other. He ended up doing a book with the owner of the store they made up a publishing company called 10 Bug Comics. You may have heard of Space Beaver. You probably haven't. But if you really, really know your comics, you've heard of Space Beaver. Especially if you're an indie like Snap Tea or someone. That's the sort of thing that's out there. And he did Space Beaver. He ended up getting mainstream work, doing Wolverine and other stuff, and then his own books, and all the way up to Transmet and Happy, and he might have done Invisibles. He's worked with Grant a lot. But he's a mainstream artist. He's solid. He knows what he's doing. He's a good guy. And we'd run into each other at conventions, and he'd kind of look at me, and it'd take him a minute. He's like, "Oh, I know you from Tibor's place, right?" And it's like, yeah, we talk. And, so a lot of these people